So there was a warning the other day about the Irish tourism industry. Now, I've done a video before talking about this, that it's pretty much gone into the toilet the last few weeks and the last few months. It's not doing too well. Usually Ireland's thriving in terms of tourism. It employs a lot of people in this country. And this year is not going well. We're down hundreds of percent pretty much on people coming to the country. It's insane. And there's many different things to do with this. Because it's a huge downward trend, and it's just kind of I suppose a turning point, as they call it, because it might never recover, and that's the thing, and that's the sad reality, and it's the truth, because it might never recover because it's that downward. It's not just 1%, 2%. In some cases, 15%. In terms of American tourists, I think it's nearly 30% at this stage. That downward trend, which is not great at all, as I say, because the majority of the Irish economy depends on tourism too. And this is to do with many different things. First of all, obviously the expense. This country is expensive to come to for a few days, whatever, for a week or two, to get a hotel, pay for whatever, pay for your flight over, things, transport, by going out for a night, for a meal or drink, whatever. It's not cheap. It's not cheap for Irish people, let alone tourists. But then again, too, the other thing is too safety, and this is a big thing too. You often, I see many tourists talk about this, is safety in Ireland too, because safety's gone out the window in this country. We import people that we don't know anything about, and pretty much we've become the third world. Pretty much, we have homeless heads everywhere. People from Timbuktu coming here to lie on the streets, and not even to mention our own people lying on the streets. And we expect tourists to pay top dollar to come over here to get mugged and God only knows what, because people just let willy-nilly walk around the streets with knives, etc., etc. And it's only the truth. We can't live in denial. In some parts of rural Ireland's okay, but in Dublin, like, a lot of people are terrified locals are terrified to go into the city centre. So what, God forbid, what is the tourist? Like, if they're not terrified, and local people are, they lived all their life. There's literally people I've seen on social media that lived all their life in the city centre, and they're mortified to go out during the day, let alone during the night. So it just tells you all you need to know, and that's our capital city. We let it go to hell, by importing the third world. Not even that, we let our own problems go to hell too, and all that happened. And then obviously we are asking people to pay top dollar for possibly getting mugged and killed on the streets. Never really ends well. But then we have other problems too. The lack of accommodation too, because obviously there's a lack of accommodation because we're housing people from Timbuktu in hotels, etc., etc., and there's a lack of accommodation. So that means too, we can put up the prices in the hotels that already exist. So take for example, there's hotels down the country in some rural towns that majority of them are booked up for refugees, and there's not many places for tourists. And that's putting strain, obviously. And then obviously that's putting strain to the tourist industry in that area. But not only that, the hotel that's used for tourists can put up the prices because there's more of a demand. It's the same with the houses. The more demand there is, the more they can put it up. And in a lot of cases, it's very unreasonable. Just take, for example, I looked up a place in Cork. There was a place in Cork because I just happened to see it being advertised on Facebook the other day. And for 2 nights in Cork, this is in the city centre, Cork city centre, they were looking for €700 for one person. €700 for 2 nights in Cork. Think about that. In Cork city centre, €700, excuse me, for that. €700. Think about that. In Cork city centre, we're looking for €700 for 2 nights. Like, are you well for one person? And again, you don't blame them because they can do this. They just want people blind. But not even that too. The fat rate for restaurants and hotels, etc., etc., is huge. It's 13.5%. They're talking about the government promised to at the election that they were lowered to 9%, which always really was about 9%. And it's still, I don't think it has been done. As far as I know, I never heard the government talk about doing it. It's still at 13.5%, I think. And the government said during the election, before the election too, that they were going to reduce it to 9%. But then I don't think they ever did, as far as I can gather. I could be wrong with that, so take what going with it's up. But what I'm trying to say is too, it's not obviously an economical problem too, because they're paying more tax to the government, and the government are pretty giving them shit. Not to mention then obviously too, there's another problem too. There's a lack of people working in hotels and like in restaurants and stuff. Because the simple fact is, and this is the reality, the government can shy on all the water about it, is that they want people to work for nothing in these places. To work for little to nothing. They're getting people to work basically for little to nothing on the minimum wage, or less than the minimum wage in some cases. And people doing work experience, etc., working for little to nothing too. It's all pretty much slave labour if you ask me. But we need to look at that too, because if you can't get people to run an operation, it's no business. But it is a sad thing to say, because I'm often heard many people seen around the world and watch videos and YouTube videos, etc. Many people love Ireland, especially Irish Americans too in general too. They always love Ireland, coming to Ireland, seeing different things and on different sites, cliffs of Moher, etc. etc. And it's a sad state of affairs, because we had such a great tourism industry, such a great, one of the best probably in Europe, to be totally honest, because it's just pure love for the country. People come to the Irish culture too. Then the last point we make about culture too, like Ireland is, Irish culture is pretty much gone. We import so many people from Timbuktu, from other countries that have different religions, different ways of doing things. The old Irish ways are gone pretty much. Having the crack, etc., etc. Nowadays, they'd be afraid of committing a thought crime if you had the crack on the street. Not the crack like drugs. There's a lot of that going on, but the crack in the pubs, etc., etc. Having a bit of fun, and having a bit of a laugh, and even just take for example, different parts of Irish culture are just gone. The old talking to people, or talking to your neighbours. People don't even know their neighbours. People are afraid to talk nowadays to people, afraid to commit a talk crime. But not even that, there's many other things that's changed in Irish culture. And you can't really find any Irish people. This is the thing you hear often from people visiting Ireland. They can't find really Irish people in the city centre in Dublin. There's no Irish people to be found, because they're all in Australia or New Zealand, because there's nothing for them here. And obviously that's a very worrying sign too, because people don't come here to see people from other countries. They come here to see Irish people, to meet Irish people, to experience the Irish traditions, Irish culture, Irish heritage. But unfortunately that's all gone out the window. It's the same with heritage now. We see with the GPO. They're determined to destroy that, and they're determined to destroy every historical building in this country. With the GPO, they're turning it into some godforsaken, God only knows what the word they use, some kind of fucking shopping centre, even though it's insane. But they're lunatics, the people that run this country. They're lunatics and psychopaths. But yeah, we do have to worry about this. Be very worried about this, because there's a lot of people are employed in this industry, and I love seeing people. I often met people in Cavan here, which really there's two of us coming to Cavan. You often meet German people, French people, other people too. I met one person from Singapore one time, and they were delighted to be here. They were lovely people, very nice, genuine people. And sure, look at the Irish people. The good thing about it is, in the words this person from Singapore said, I quote him for a second, that he said everybody always says, "Oh, where you from?" "Oh, I'm from Singapore." "Ah, sure, look at I knew a fellow that went out there," and I was pretty much the same. I was like, "Oh yeah, I knew somebody that went on holidays to Singapore back a few years ago, and they said it was a nice place, etc." Because that's Irish people for you, because you hear it all the time. Any tourists, etc. "Oh, sure, Mary went to America," or "Oh, sure, Tommy from down the road there went to America." The old Irish way. That's unfortunately gone now too, because people that are coming in from other countries don't have that kind of humour and that kind of interaction. I suppose Irish people are very unique in that regard, and very genuine, and obviously very funny too, and etc. etc. But unfortunately, all that's gone out the window. But anyway, let me know what you think. Subscribe for more, and let me know if you are a tourist that visits countries, or have you thought about coming to Ireland. What do you think? Do you think Ireland's a place you want to come out? Have you come to Ireland recently? Have you liked the country? Did you enjoy yourself? You're upset? Are you a bit annoyed with the country? I wouldn't blame you to be done if you was a bit annoyed with the country. I would be too if I was a tourist coming here. I think I would get back on the plane and go, to be told, especially if I was going to Dublin. I think I would rather stay on the plane and never leave the plane than go to Dublin, to walk around Dublin or do anything in Dublin. And that's no offence to Dublin, but it's just a hellhole. It's gone to hell. But anyway, let me take subscribe for more and bye.